Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of the Priestess View with Goddess Rhonda, moi, and of course my partner, Goddess Starr.
Hello, everyone. Merry meet. Glad
As
to have you
always,
guys here.
we're always so glad to see you and we're always so grateful to have you with us. And
Yes.
as always, before we begin, we like to cast a circle of protection around us. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. All hail, our lords and ladies of the East, my brothers and sisters. My brother and patron, the sacred element of air, namaste. Divine honor, love, joy, peace, and respect to thee, my lords and ladies. I charge thee, please cause a barrier of protection through all of our walls that face your direction, from corner to corner and end to end. Let peace and protection reign herein. Thank you, and so it is.
All hail, our lords and ladies of the South, my brothers and sisters, my brother and patron, the sacred element of fire. Namaste. Divine honor, love, joy, peace, and respect to thee. I charge thee, please cause a barrier of protection through all of our walls that face your direction, from corner to corner and end to end. Let peace and protection reign herein. Thank you. So it is.
All hail, our lords and ladies of the West, my brothers and sisters. My sister and patron, the sacred element of water, namaste. Divine honor, love, joy, peace, and respect to thee, my lords and ladies. I charge thee, please cause a barrier of protection through all of our walls that face your direction, from corner to corner and end to end. Let peace and protection reign herein. Thank you, so it is.
All hail, our lords and ladies of the North, my brothers and sisters, my sister and patron, the sacred element of earth. Namaste. Divine honor, love, joy, peace, and element of earth, and respect to thee. I charge thee, please cause a barrier of protection through all our walls that face your directions, from corner to corner and end to end. Let peace and protection reign herein. Thank you. So it is.
And we now bring down the divine white light from the sacred source of all well-being and fill our spaces with peace and protection always. So it is, and thank you. So welcome back to the Priestess View Show with Goddess Rhonda and Goddess Starr. Tonight we're going to discuss how to customize your spell work, your intention work, however you term it. Some people say spell work. Us old school goddesses say spell work. But the new school goddesses might say intention work or energy work. Either way, it's the same thing. And last week, we talked about how to get back on track with your New Year's resolutions and spell work that can help you with that. So now we're going to go ahead and expand upon that because I'm sure a lot of you who are watching probably cast New Year's spells to lose weight or go back to school or whatever it is that you were trying to do for yourself. And they might not have worked for you. And you might be saying, well, how come that didn't work for me, but my friend who gave me the spell, it worked for them just fine. What am I doing wrong? Well, a lot of times when you use a spell from someone else, that spell, the author constructed that spell based on their beliefs and what resonated with them. And we don't always resonate with what someone else says or someone else's idea of what color represents money or energy or power or whatever it is. So it's important that you integrate your own energies that resonate with you, the colors, the oils, everything should resonate with you. So we're going to go into how to do that, how to turn a spell, any spell that you get, into one that is custom to you by incorporating your own beliefs, your own energy, your own belief system, and that sort of thing. So that's what we're going to do tonight. It's going to be a great show. And so,
Mhm.
Goddess Starr, what is your first tip that you would like to share with our viewers as to how they can customize their spells?
Well, one of the things is that just like you would take anything else, you may read a book and your friend may read a book, but both of you come off with two different thoughts of where the book came from,
Mm-hmm.
or two different thoughts of ideas. It's the same thing goes into your spells, or even if it's a thought for, say, for instance, like we mentioned, weight loss. Whenever people speak about weight loss, they all, even if they're following similar things, like say maybe Weight Watchers or whatever, they always say that they have to customize things to themselves. Even though across the board the program works for most people or
Right.
for everyone that wants to really willingly make it work, they still customize every little part of it to agree with them, whether it's their lifestyle or their food intake, because some foods that they may suggest, for example, may not be to your liking. So if it's not to your liking, you can try as much as you want, it's not going to feel right, and you're not going to lose the weight because you're not going to want to eat those type of foods. So what you do is, more than likely with Weight Watchers, I know some of them that are on it, they tend to adapt what foods that are within their culture or within their vein, so that they're able to accommodate themselves to lose the weight still, but eat with things that they like, or the things that they're accustomed to, type of eating, kind of a thing. So it all depends on that. So the same thing kind of goes for spells. If someone tell you a particular love spell worked a certain way, or like me with my apartment, and finding that apartment that I mentioned to you guys in last week, everything has to be fine-tuned to you. What are your needs? What are your requirements? What do you need to do with it? So with that in mind, depending on what you ask me, I will relate to you that same spell, but in a different way, to wrap it around for you, to make it work for you personally. So every spell, say for instance, a client comes to me, every spell to me, even though it's a general spell, I will adapt it to that particular person based on the questions I ask them. Because they would say, yeah, I want them to do it, but they don't necessarily want to. They feel better if I do. So for that, for me to work for them personally, I ask them questions, whether it's their birth sign, or when they were born exactly, or the time of their birth, basically. Or I would ask them questions of what's going on in their lifestyle at the moment. A lot of little things I would ask in such a way so I can get an idea of what is their needs are. And sometimes I just get them talking because that's the way I learn a lot more as I'm doing their particular spell for them. And the spell works out better for them. It gets more of their generated energies of what they want. So my first tip would be for you to, as you are trying to do whatever spell, if you have that spell in front of you and you're trying to adapt it for you, really focus and think about what it is you want from this spell. What is the outcome that you truly want from the heart? And a lot of times that's how it guides you. That's how it tells you. And that's how we would try to guide you with it also when we are speaking to you to try to help you. So that's my first tip with, learn to focus in better on what your outcome is.
Right.
What about you?
First of all, that is an excellent tip, because a lot of people think they know what they want, but you have to be as specific as possible. So awesome tip, and definitely take that to heart, because that is actually true. So one of the things that I have about customizing spells is, a lot of times in spells you're told to visualize the outcome. And as an empath, visualization is not my primary sense. It's not my dominant sense. Feelings are. And I had to really
Right.
practice to learn how to visualize. It's very frustrating if someone's saying, okay, I want you to visualize yourself in your dream job, and you're like, okay, and all you get is a blank screen because you're not visual. Some people see, some people hear, some people smell. So what
Yeah.
I have is a little short quiz that if you have a pen and paper, you can take this quiz to determine what your dominant sense is, because that is your strongest sense, and that is where you need to project your energy from in order to make it work. So if you don't have a pen and paper, don't worry. This is being recorded as we speak, so you can come back to this. But basically, here are just some quick questions to make that determination. And so what I want you to do is, if you're to consider yourself in a questioning situation where you're questioning what somebody says, and I'm going to read some responses and write down the letter of the one that sounds like something that you would say. So if you're in a questioning situation, A, it doesn't smell right to me. B, it doesn't sound right to me. C, it doesn't feel right to me. D, it doesn't look right to me. E, it doesn't taste right to me. And F, I don't think that's right. So write down your answers to that one. We've got 2 more sets to go, just very quickly. The second one, if you're questioning what another person is saying to you or you're disagreeing with what another person is saying to you, again, write down the letter that responds, sounds like the way you would respond to it. A, that idea stinks. B, I feel differently than you do. C, I don't see your point. D, I'm just not hearing what you're trying to say. E, it leaves a bad taste in my mouth. And F, I don't think you know what you're saying or what you're talking about. And then one more set, and then you'll be able to, I'll give you the answers. So if you're angry with someone, again, write down the letter of the response that you think is yours. A, that person's attitude reeks. B, I was so angry there was a roaring in my ears. C, I was so angry I was hot or cold or numb. D, I was so angry I saw red. E, I wanted to hit him so bad I could taste it. F, I thought my head was going to explode. So now, if your answers are mostly A's, then your dominant sense is smell. If your answers are mostly B's, then your dominant sense is hearing. If your answers are mostly C's, then your dominant sense is feeling. If your answers are mostly D's, then your dominant sense is sight. If your answers are mostly E's, then your dominant sense is taste. And if your answers are mostly F's, then your dominant sense are your thoughts. So if you said it doesn't smell right to me, you are clairsent, not to be confused with clairsentient. If it doesn't sound right to you, you are clairaudient. If it doesn't feel right to you, you are clairsentient. If it doesn't look right to you, you are clairvoyant. If it doesn't taste right to you, you are clairgustance. And if it's not how you think or you don't think it's right, that's claircognizant. So now you know what your power is. So instead of visualizing, if you're doing a prosperity spell, instead of visualizing that you've got all this money around you, if you are clairsentient, then feel money in your hands, like you've got a stack of money. You can feel the money in your hands. Or if you are clairgustance, where you taste things, taste copper. You know when you're a kid and you put coins in your mouth and you get that coppery metallic taste? Taste coin, taste gold in your mouth as you're imagining having all of this money. Use your dominant sense. And it's, it's also typical you can have more than one sense. Like you might have put, a couple of A's and a couple of D's or whatever. The one that you've got the most for is the dominant. The other ones are your secondary. And if you've got one of each for each thing, then that just means that you're just multi-talented and you can use whichever one you want. But again, use the strength that is going to serve you, because that is your dominant sense and that is where you can project from. So if you're claircognizance and your thoughts are the strongest, then just send that thought out of what you want. And that can help you to get and manifest what you want, because you're using your strongest sense to send that energy out there.
Yeah, that is so true. That is
So now,
very true.
Starr, what else did you have for us?
Well, actually, that's a great point, and I remember teaching that in one of my classes, and the fact that I forgot about it is amazing. But I think it's great, because you did point out a few things that make sense to a lot of people. One of the other things that I find that works, because a lot of times when someone is standing right in front of you and you're doing a spell for them, or you're on the phone with them, it's hard to go into all of that with them. So it's the reason why I would say to a lot of them, I end up saying, it's not even so much visualizing, but just think about what the outcome, whatever that outcome that you want from it, whether it's the whole base or the whole point of that particular spell you want. What is it you want? I want an apartment now or within a certain time because I really need it. Or I need a new mate in my life, not a soulmate. I have enough soulmates. I have enough friends. I want I want the love of my life. I want that person within my life right now, and that's what I want, and that's what I would like to reach out for right now. So, with all, like, put all your intent into the outcome of what you want from that spell. Don't even think about the beginning of the spell, what I'm doing with the spell for you, or what you're doing with the spell at the time, but think about the actual outcome. See it already done. Whatever it is, the actual outcome, what did I want from this? Why did I even come to you for it? You know what I mean? I either want that new job and I really want to do it, or I really want that, like I just said, a mate or the apartment or whatever it is that people want in their lives. Because basically everyone thinks of their id factor, all about them and how what their needs are.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, and a lot of times, especially when you're a parent of some sort, you do tend to think about your kids and what the outcome I want for my kids. I want my kids to be safe. I want my kids to grow up well and have a good life. So already, without having what you would say visualizing techniques, what if you had a kid, or you would like, okay, like for instance, a business that you want, or the Priestess View show, would love to see it take off to a certain point in life. That's a big visualization, and you did it, without realizing it, because you're already seeing the outcome. You're already seeing where you want to take it. And it's unlimitless. You know what I mean? So without realizing it, you did it without thinking about it, because you weren't focusing on it. You just did it. So that's what you have to do with spells. Don't think that hard. It is not that difficult. Just let it be and reach out for what you want, that outcome. And that outcome is all you need to know. This is what I want. This is the end outcome that I want. I want that apartment, and I need it to be a certain way. Like, I wanted this apartment, and I got it all right. But I still have to do that walk. But I wanted it so badly, and I wanted it close to Manhattan without going too far into Brooklyn. So I did get it, the outcome. You know what I mean? And that's what people have to focus on. A lot of times, it's not even so much the visualization of it, but just realizing that that outcome has to be, this is how much you want it. You can taste it, you can feel it, you can smell it, you can hear it, everything all at once, because it just has to be. It has to come to being.
And
I
there's
think
no
it's
other
very
option.
much a point of the fervency about how much you want. Because a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times people think that when they come to you for a spell, they don't really necessarily want that. They think they do. So they will do the spell, and this is what they think they want, and they'll try to work on that. But really, human beings work on their absolute needs. So you may want certain things, but what do you absolutely need? And that's what's going to come out most likely. That's what I've realized with a lot of people's spells. And then they're wondering, why did it come out that way? I know what I wanted. And I'm looking at them, I'm like, because it's not necessarily what you needed. It was just what you wanted.
Right.
But this is what you needed. So I think that, a lot of it is based on that. It's
Right.
like, for instance, you ever notice people who, when they want to lose weight, really want to lose weight, they lose weight. Without question, they go through it and they lose weight at whatever cost. And next thing you know, you're looking at them and you're going, I can't believe you did it. Because they really need it, their life depended on it. Maybe they were told something drastically. If you do not do this now, this time, you will die. So they needed to lose weight, not wanted to lose weight. They needed to lose weight. So that need took over more. And the outcome is what they were seeking, period. And that, I think, sometimes makes the spells more potent. Uh, the need is so necessary that the outcome comes out sometimes even faster, better. So people really have to, what I tell people all the time, they really have to be honest with themselves.
Mm.
Because you may say a lot of verbal things to me when I'm doing the spell for you, and you know they do that too. Right, Goddess Rhonda? You know they do that.
Absolutely.
They tell you all that they think you want to hear, but you're looking at them and you're earnestly knowing to yourself that they're not telling you the absolute of what their needs are. They're the only ones that know. So I look them in the eyes and I will tell them directly, whether you tell me all of what you need to tell me, because I need to know to put that into what the spell has to be for you. But even if you hold it back from me, when you take this candle home or this spell home and you go to do it, that absolute need will come out, which is why sometimes they do things that we tell them not to do. With certain spells, like the love thing,
Yeah,
and you tell them not to do, and they go and that's exactly what they do.
they
And then they
do.
call you later and they're saying, could you tell me why so and so happened? And you're like, did you do and they're like, well, sort of, not at, and they're kind of stammering because we told you not to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
You know what
happens.
I mean.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You've made some really, really, really good points about knowing what you want. Because a lot of times people will come to you and they'll say, you know what, I want a new home. I live in a bad neighborhood and I want a better apartment, somewhere else. And I'm going to get and I want an apartment in a really, really, really good neighborhood. Okay. So then the question then becomes, can you afford the rent in a really, really, really good neighborhood? Well, no. Okay, so then what you really need is a better paying job then, right? Yes. Okay, great. So in order for you to get a better paying job, do you have the proper education that you need in order to move up, to climb your ladder to success? Do you have the education that you need? Well, no. Okay, so then what you really need to do is to go back to school. Right, okay. So then we need to get a spell to get you the money to go back to school so that you can get a better job and then you can get into that better neighborhood. So we started off with, I need a better place in a better neighborhood, and we switched it to, I need to get money so I can go back to school so I can get a better job and lead a better life.
Right.
So I can
Things
totally dig what
what
you're
they
saying.
tell you. Yeah,
You
absolutely.
kind of have to pull it out of them because we all want to get to the outcome, but we don't think about those steps to the ladder that we have to climb
Yeah.
in order to get there. So first
And
consider the ladder.
sometimes, right. Unfortunately, again, because of that whole id factor, a lot of people tend to, um, instead of walking one step at a time to each section that they have to do, they want to just run straight to the end zone, which
Right,
is great. But then you bypass all the other things that you need to do to get to that end zone, the end result of what you need. Maybe grab a glass of water on the way or something. Maybe it's a long trek, who knows, but people don't see it like that. They just want that outcome and
yeah,
they don't, listen or go beyond that, or they don't expect you as someone they came to just for a spell to be logical,
right,
and also telling them for the spell to work logically,
right,
this is what you need to do, and they don't expect that from you. They just expect you to just do the spell and hand it to them, and a lot of times that's what you do because that's what they want, no matter what you say, so you do that. So it's just a matter of what people would like us to do, and if you are honest with yourself, straight up being honest with yourself, your spells would work better. Like, break it down for yourself to the nitty gritty, like Goddess Rhonda just said, and realizing the different steps you have to take, and be honest with yourself about your needs, how to get to those needs, and everything. Um, what you really want. You may want a friend or a soulmate, as you may say, or a life mate. Do you
right,
want really a life mate or a soulmate? I mean, everybody's questioning or what their needs are based on their situations. It's the reason why some men and women are always end up with the same types of partners over and over and over, and wondering why, and they can't seem to get out of that vicious cycle, because a lot of the times it's very destructive, that cycle. So, it's a situation of where, again, one of the things you really have to be is honest with yourself and the person that you having do that spell for you.
Right. That's really, really important. It's really important. Otherwise, you might not get the results that you wanted if you're not being truly truthful with yourself and as to what it is that you want, and willing to look at your path and what you need to do to get there. What you need to actually do to get to that next step on the ladder is really what you want to start casting for. And then you could cast, you can do what I call the ladder spell. First you get to this step, then the next spell for the next step, and so forth and so on. And I think the biggest asset that you can have when it comes to spell casting is patience. Patience.
Yes.
I wish we could be like Samantha Stevens on Bewitched and say, I want something, snap or wiggle our nose, and poof, there it is. Unfortunately, things take time. Energies have to get to certain places. People have to be influenced. There's a lot going on with that spell, and you have to be patient. It might take 30 days. It might take 90 days. All you have to do is, as Goddess Starr had said, focus on your outcome and know it's happening. Just know it's happening. Maybe it'll take you 6 months. Who knows? With all for everything to fall into place, because there's a lot of things that are going on with a spell. When you cast the spell, you are engaging energies. You're engaging people. People are making decisions to give you a job or grant you an apartment. There's a lot happening there, and it takes time for those energies to filter. Now, sometimes things can happen just like that, and that's great. But other times, if it's an even bigger spell, like I want to have a job where I make $300,000 a year and I live in this giant mansion on the ocean, and right now you're a mailroom clerk, that's not going to happen in 30 days. You have to look at realistically how long it's going to take, and then go for it. Let these spells support your work. You have to do the work too. So patience is probably, that is the biggest thing I talk to people about, is patience. And I'm not the most patient person either. I want things to happen just like that. But I've usually found that they happen within 30 to 90 days of me casting. I get what I want. So just have some patience. Don't say, oh my God, it's been a whole 3 days, nothing's happened, it must not be working. Of course it's working. But you saying that, oh, it must not be working, you could have just canceled your whole spell just by those words.
Yeah.
You canceled it.
Yes. So and a lot of times, and I tell people that all the time. I said, please do not negate the spell on any level at any time. Be patient with it, but how long before it works, I've had spells work as I'm doing it. And I've had spells take the entire 30 days or beyond the 30 days. It depends, what it has to do. And people just have to be patient and realize it comes to where it needs to be, but you got to give it time to do its job, basically. It does not take that. First of all, to get an application for an apartment takes a whole process. It takes a whole process. So what makes you think, because of the spell, it's going to be done in a few days or within the same time or within the same week? It does not. No, it's not going to make it hurry up. It's just going to make you get what you need. So just be patient. And that's a big deal. You're right. It's a huge deal with a lot of people.
Absolutely. It really is. Another tip that I have that goes along with is, a lot of people will just, they'll come home from work and say, okay, I'm going to go ahead and cast a spell and follow all the directions, but they don't do preliminary work like cleansing yourself first, cleaning your energy. If I come home from a hard day of work and my boss has pissed me off and I'm all stressed out from the piles of work that I know is waiting for me tomorrow, and I come in, it's like, okay, I'm going to do this spell, and I'm in a nasty mood, or I have somebody else's energy on me, or I'm impatient or stressed out, that is not going to help your spell to work. If anything, all you're doing is putting negative energy and negative emotions into your spell. So it's really, really important for you to cleanse yourself, particularly your energy, before casting. And this way, you won't be bringing other people's energy into it or adverse emotions you may be carrying. Cleansing, I find, this is just my opinion, cleansing using your patron element works best for me. And you can either use the physical element, or you can just imagine that you're safely surrounded and infused with that element, and that it's removing the adverse energies from you on all levels, with the intention that the energy is cleansed and then recycled back into you so that you have nice, clean energy. So depending on your zodiac sign, you have an element that has been assigned to you at birth that has been assigned to help you. And you really should get in touch with your element. You can make offerings to your element daily, even when you're not doing spells, to honor and strengthen your connection to them. I honor the elements every day. So you can use herbs that you have in your kitchen, some that you already have that you've gotten from the store, or whatever you have in there. So with earth, I use patchouli oil on a dried rose petal, and I have a flower pot of earth that I honor her every day. With air, I use lavender incense. With fire, I use dried rose petals and cinnamon, and that I burn. And for water, I take a big dried rose petal, and I put, and you can use a fresh one too if you have one, and I put honey on it, and I let it run off my hand with blessings to water, because I send blessings to the elements, because I just feel it's only fair. They're always blessing us. We need to bless them too. Even though I know they don't need my help, it's just a gesture of respect. It's just something that we do for respect. So ask your patron element to remove the adverse energies blocking you from your goal. And notice I said adverse energies, because sometimes you're blocked for a positive reason if you're not ready, or if it's not the proper time. It might just not be the proper time. Everything is in divine timing. But you can ask the earth to ground out the blockages that are holding you back, the air to blow them away, the fire to burn them away, and water to wash them away. Just, based on whatever your patron element is, based on your zodiac sign. Use that element. Get to know that element. Connect with that element. It is a patron of yours. That element is here to assist you in your work here. So by all means, get to know it, honor it. Don't just ask it for help. Show it some respect. Show it some honor. Give it a glass of wine. However you feel you want to honor your patron, go right ahead. But that can really help you, is using your patron element either through your imagination or through the physical element to cleanse yourself, calm yourself down before you begin the work, so that you're using pure energy with pure intentions. Because otherwise, it's like, when you see a dirty window and you can't quite see through it, that's kind of the energy that you're sending out. It's like trying to send sunlight through a dirty window. It doesn't work out very well. So we want to clean the window, which is us, and then send that energy out.
Absolutely. Because when you think about it in the sense of when you get home after a long, hard day, whether you were at work or whatever it is, long, hard day outside in the streets, and you come back home, one of the first things you start to do, I don't know about you guys, but we start tripping down, right? You start taking the clothes off, and you cannot wait to go take a shower or a bath or something, just to put you in a better mood and a better frame of mind.
Right.
That's all part of your cleansing. You're trying to clean yourself up and get in a different mood, a different mindset. That's the whole thing there. And then, of course, you clean your aura, your spirit. Some people use sage. They do saging from head to toe. Start at the bottom of the feet, and you come up. And you can do both sides if you feel you can do that ambidextrous. It's up to you. Or just do it in the front of you and letting it up and out through your head. That's all perfectly fine. Whatever works for you. Or with me, I can't do a lot of ambidextrous things or anything like that. So I just kind of put it in front of me and send it up into the universe. And that's my way of cleansing that part. But my biggest thing, first of all, is to take that bath. I really need that bath to do. That's my first and foremost cleansing. And then one of the suggestions, I remember us discussing that last week, is I do recommend that people do an uncrossing candle once a month. It's basically an uncrossing spell, just to remove anything that's negative in your path, to block you. A lot of times, it's one along with that particular, say for instance, a love spell or a money spell, whatever it is you want in your life. I always recommend to people, if they so wish, also get an uncrossing candle to burn first, and then burn at the end of that uncrossing candle. When it's finished burning out, then burn the candle of the spell that you really want, because you want, and then you want to speak to that candle in a way, or speak to the energies around it, and say, I want every day that you can think of anything at all, because we don't always remember everything that we want to have removed that's negative. So we say a few things in front of the person that's doing the spell for you, but then you go home and you remember other things. So as you see that candle, doing that uncrossing candle burning, and you get up or you're passing by, think of anything at all that you know of that's either negative or that you think that be blocking whatever it is from you getting the outcome of that money or that love or whatever it is. Then say it out. I want that removed too. If that's blocking me from getting what I want that removed too. So you've got 7 days of that burning candle, 7 days and nights, to keep saying things of what you want removed, what you want to have move away from you that is blocking you from receiving that outcome. So that when that 7 days are done, you can begin the spell of what it is you want. So you pick once a month and you do that. If you can do it more often, even better. But once a month at least, I think we all need it, especially when you live in a crowded city like we do here in New York, any kind of crowded area, because you're running into all these energies every day. Imagine running into all the dirt and everything every day and coming home and not taking a bath every day. And we're suggesting you clean yourself once a month. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like that. So when you think of an uncrossing candle, if you can do it more often, more power to you. Once a week, whatever it is, but at least once a month works well. So think that's a great point that Goddess Rhonda brought up, in the sense of cleansing and removing negative energies from you, and that does that. So that's a great suggestion. Absolutely.
And you're right about doing the uncrossing candle, because last week we talked about, you're not just dealing with your own subconscious. Again, you could be dealing with the subconscious of other people who really don't want you to have what it is you want. So if you want to take off 30 pounds so that you can, be 40 and hot, and your husband's like, oh my God, if she loses 30 pounds, all these men are going to try and take her away. So he could be sending out, no, don't lose the weight subconsciously, and coming home with boxes of chocolates and things like that to sabotage you, because he's afraid. He's afraid that you might leave him because now you're going to be gorgeous or whatever it is. Or if you're going to get a better job and you've always been, you and your friends have had the same kind of jobs, and now you want to take it further and go up higher. And subconsciously your friend's like, oh, wow, she's going to do better than me, and then she's going to leave me, and then she won't be my friend anymore. You're dealing with other people's subconscious also. It's not just you. So doing that uncrossing candle to block other people's energies coming out, even the ones who love you, they don't really mean you any harm. They're just dealing, their own coping skills are in a panic, and so they could be unconsciously sending that energy out. So it's good to have that, to do the uncrossing candle first, so that by the time it's done, the way is clear, the road is open. And then you can even follow that up with a road opener candle or road opener oil. But that is an excellent thing to do, the uncrossing. I agree 1,000,000,000% on that one. I do. The other thing that I had here was, and I'm very into, and you're going to see as we go through the show, that I'm very into elemental energy, planetary energy. I use all of the patrons that are here to help me, and I am sure that they are also here to help you. So again, we talked about using your patron element to cleanse your energy. Now we need you to incorporate those elements into your spell. You can make an elemental powder with easy ingredients that you can burn during your spell. You can blow them into the wind. You can send them down the drain with water. You can bury them, all depending on what your patron element is. So the earth signs, for those who don't know, are Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. And you can use, for earth, you can use ground organic popcorn. You can use oats. You can use wheat flour. And I chose things that you can use that are probably already in your cabinet. Or you can use patchouli. And what you might want to do is, for your spell, consider creating a plant using the seeds that represent what you want and infusing the seeds with your intention, so that as it's growing, it's sending out all this energy of what you want. And because Earth is your patron, that's going to support you even more heavily if you make a plant. If you're an air sign, which is Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius, and you can use mint, lavender, sage, rice, or whatever else you feel. If you feel that there's a certain herb or spice that goes along with your element, by all means, do it your way, because it needs to resonate with you. But what you can do is you can ground the mint, the lavender, the sage, or the rice. If you're doing rice is hard, but you can use a coffee grinder to do that, and it'll break it down into a really nice powder. And you can infuse it with your intentions, and you can either blow it into the air, or you can burn it and send your intentions into the smoke as it's drifting away, so that the smoke is taking it where it needs to go. If you're a fire sign, which is Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, you can use allspice, basil, bay leaves, cinnamon, and cloves. And you can soak those in jojoba oil or the carrier oil of your choice to create an empowered oil. And you can anoint your candles, because if you're fire, we're going to use lots of candles. You can anoint those candles. But always you want to do, before you rub it on your hands, you want to do a little skin test, because like cloves is very caustic, so it can burn your skin. So you might want to be careful. If it's too caustic, I use a paintbrush if it's too caustic, and I turn the paintbrush into a wand for me to carry my intentions into it, so you can do that. Or if you're a water sign, which is Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, you can use lemons or lemon peel, myrrh, poppy seeds, or spearmint, and make a mist to spray the ingredients of, and the tools of your spell. You can put an oil or an herb in the water to create an infusion, and then just use just lightly, an empowered mist to lightly mist the outside of your candles. Try not to get the wick wet if you're going to burn it right away. And as the mist dries, it will infuse your spell with the energy, or you can let your candles sit in that infusion of herbs and water to let the energy soak in before you burn it. Or you can even make a bath with the empowered herbs and sit in there, and then you become the spell yourself, because now you're putting out those energies. So by incorporating your patron element based on your zodiac sign into the spell work, you are customizing it, and you are making it even stronger to work for you. What do you think, Goddess Starr?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, that same uncrossing candle or any other spell that you use, you can add another trick to it. You can put it inside of a bowl of water, but that water has been, you would take whatever herb that you can think of that's for the, if it's the money spell, like the basil and the bay leaf and different things, and you could ground it up, lavender and all those things, and put it in the water, and then put the candle in there. And now it's become a twofold thing of where it's for safety, in case if you want to leave that candle burning, as well as it helps infuse the water and cast out your spell even more so, sending it around. And on top of that, you can then take that water with it, or with all the herbs inside of it, and you can do what Goddess Rhonda said, and you can put it in your bath water. Mm-hmm. So now you've used it for many different things. So those are great ideas with what you mentioned there with all of that. There are even thoughts of where some people have actually, like you said, not just only the spray, but they've taken that herb water that they've all infused there with the water, and they cleanse the candle with it first.
Mm-hmm.
And they use that as part of this whole spell. So now they've cleansed it first, and then they carve it and everything, and ready to use that for the beginning part of their spell work. So you can take it and you can use it in many different ways, all depending on what it is you want from it or how much energies you want to put in it. And don't forget, the more you put into, the more work, rather, that you put of yourself and your thoughts and your actions and your deeds and all the different things that you're doing with it, whether you're infusing it with the herbs or the different things, the more you do with it, the more you're focusing on what you want, all of that is the stronger that spell becomes. The more potent, and the more I think that it always ends up with such amazing results, because now you've infused it with your energies, your
Right.
thought, your ideas, everything, all of it combined, you know. So it becomes this just one amazing spell to do what you need to do. And when you're done, I can guarantee you that when you're done and you're looking at the whole thing and you're finished and it's now lit, you're like, wow. That you literally feel the energies from yourself. And sometimes you just feel like you're letting go. You're just letting it all go and let the candle. The minute you light it, you're like, this was good. This is a good spell. It's going to work. You can feel it. So you're not negating anything because you've infused it with your energies and your thoughts and your ideas of what you want for it, because of all the little things you've done from the very beginning with the herb and everything. So all of that you said is such an additional great ideas to any spell. And it works because it infuses it more with your energies. So that's brilliant. That's really, I forgot about some of those things. So it's great to have us bouncing off one another and getting the
I know,
ideas.
because I always forget you remember. You forget and I remember. So thankfully, we
Yeah,
just got
yeah.
two brains where you can remember one thing. So that's a good thing. But I was just thinking about what you said, and I was just like, wow. So imagine, okay, everybody just imagine this. So here you've got your candle that you've empowered, as Goddess Starr says, and you've got it sitting in this bowl of water, which really is great because a lot of people they're afraid, oh, if I leave the candle burning, it'll start a fire. So having the bowl of water will negate that. But now you've got this empowered candle burning in this water of herbs and energy. And then when you take the candle out, but I have a spray bottle I get at the dollar store. You can put that water, you can strain it, put that water in your spray bottle, and you want to adjust the nozzle so that it's just a fine mist. You don't want it to be one of those straight streams. You want to kind of fool around with it to get a mist. And then you can spray it over your head and let it rain down over you before you start your day. Or if you're like, let's say you're doing a prosperity spell where you want more business in your store or wherever it is, you can take that spray bottle every day, spray the door, and wipe it so that it's got that energy coming through, so you're attracting all those customers. I mean, there's a million things you can do with that water, or take a bath in it. But I have a spray bottle, and it lasts for a while because you're just a little dabbled. You don't have to wet yourself completely down. Just spritz it, and it comes over you like a mist. And while it's misting you, again, imagine what it is that you want. Put that thought into that mist as it's surrounding you. And that's going to even strengthen up. Now, you've got your candle going. You've incorporated water, so you're using more of the elements. You're using herbs that represent your patrons. And then you get to mist yourself with it every day. That's putting a lot of energy out there to get what you want. And it is very, very effective. It's in a very effective way of doing that.
And on top of that, a lot of times the herbal water make you smell so nice.
Oh, they
so
do.
all at the same time, you're doing a lot to make that spell come to fruition without realizing it. It becomes part of your daily ritual with different things, just like you taking a bath early in the morning. So it becomes part of your nature and everything else, and yet all you're doing is assisting your spell to make it even come to better fruition with it. So it's great. All of those are great ideas. And then, you can, depending on what you want to do from there, you could take it further and doing the parchment paper, writing down ideas of what it is. I remember we mentioned that last week with writing down, and it could be parchment paper or brown paper bag. I always thought, parchment paper in the first place was what they had back in the day. which is why everyone wrote everything on parchment paper. First it was on skin, then it went to parchment paper. So, it doesn't matter if that's what you're writing it on, whether it's parchment paper or brown paper bag. If you've got that, that's another great way to go. Or if you have nothing else, then use the paper that you have. But whatever it is, write down on that paper all of your attributes or all of your needs, depending on the spell. If it's a love spell, then it'll be attributes. If it's a job spell, then it would be all of your needs or all of your what do you have attribute wise as that you can offer that job or that new business you want to start. Think about all the things that you can offer it. If it's a business where it's a service business, think about what you can offer people.
Right.
Think about how happy you can make that person or those people by what you can offer them, that new knowledge or that new whatever it is. Write it down, and then write down also on the other side anything that may take away from that.
Mm-hmm.
Burn that, the one that is the negative things that may take away from that. Take it, burn it, and blow it. That goes out into the universe and get rid of it. And then the other one you can take, and this one you will burn too, but you can take it and you fold it up into a part. I don't have any here with me, but you fold it in such a way of a small rectangle shape. And you burn this one the way you want to do it was with a bit of the incense burning over it, or rather underneath it, letting it go up at the same time. You're using all the elements, and you're burning it there, and you're saying your wish. This is what I wish for myself to attain, to be able to do, to help anyone, and then talk from your heart. There's no special spell that you need, words that you need to say. Speak from your heart. This is the services I want to offer people. This is what I want. This is what I see for them. This is how much I know I can help them with these things. And you say it from your heart. Again, everything comes from your heart and what you fervently want.
Right.
And you burn it and let it out and let that out. And you're saying it and you said, I can see this. I can see myself helping people with this. I can see how happy it makes them. And you let it out. And that's a different way of letting it out. But this time it's into the universe and take it to where it needs to go so that it can come to fruition. See it all happening. I'm getting goosebumps just by doing that. Just see it all happening and feeling yourself already there. It's not even a visualization. You're seeing yourself already in that position, helping people that you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll work. It'll work.
Absolutely.
When you really believe in what your spell is there to do, it will work.
That's true. I'm glad that you said that. When you fervently believe that your spell is going to work, it's going to work. Because a lot of us, and it's true, sometimes you've been so beaten down by life, and you have tried, and you have tried, and you have tried, and nothing in your life seems to be going right, and everything just seems, every time you try to do something, everything falls apart, or the opposite of what you want to happen happens. And so you might just get to the point where you're just so beaten down, it's like, well, I guess I'll try one more prosperity spell, and maybe this time it'll work. You got to take the maybe out of it. I don't care if you have tried 100 spells and none of them have worked. You have to believe that the 101st spell that you're going to do is going to work. You've got to believe. And I love to fall back on one of my favorite inspirational speakers, Jack Campbell, who wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul. He got 100.
I thought of him as you said it.
144 rejection letters for that book. 144. Some of us would have given up after 20. Some of us would have given up after 50. I would have given up after 100. Probably would have said, oh, just screw it. He kept going, 144, and it was the 145th person that took his book, and now he has sold 500 million, not 500,000, 500 million copies of his book all over the world. That is because with every letter he sent out, he believed, and he'll tell you that if you go to his website or look at any of his webinars, he truly believed it was going to happen. There was no other option. And he just kept sending and sending and sending, and it worked. So to me, he is a prime example. Whenever I get tired or impatient, I was like, well, think about Jack Campbell. He just kept going. You can do the same thing, but your attitude has a lot to do with it. You've got to believe, no matter what has happened to you before you cast that spell, you must believe that things are going to change, because if you go in there brokenhearted and saying, well, it never worked before, maybe it'll work this time, but I don't really have any expectations because it never works, then it's not going to.
Yeah.
You've got to have that. You've got to have that fervent belief in the work that you're doing in order to truly make it work for you.
Yeah. I've actually turned away people when they came to me so much with negative words about whether or not it's going to work, and I'm standing there going, I would love to do this for you, but I'm not willing to take your money if right away you're negating everything that I'm about to do for you. It's not worth it to me, my time, my effort, or to you, but all your time and effort and your money, because it's not going to work. Not if you're saying, you basically said all the words that they've said many a times. I've tried it before with other people. I don't know why I'm trying it now with you, because
Right.
I know it's not going to work. Then why are we even discussing this? You know,
Right.
it's not going to work now because you just said it.
You just said it. Exactly.
So if you
You
don't
just
change
cast the
your
spell.
tune. Yeah, if you don't change your tone and your wordings with me, I can't help you. And you can't help yourself. Whether you do it or I do it or anybody else, none of us can help you because you've already negated it.
Right.
It's not, it does not help anyone in particular or yourself. All you're doing is going to be throwing money out. And I honestly don't like it, because spells to me, that's one of the things that people don't realize. Here, do this spell for me. It takes energy. It takes time. It takes effort from us, because whether we advertently or inadvertently we want to do that, our energies, if you're the type of person that really wanted to honestly help someone with a spell, all of that of you, your energies and time goes into that because you want to help them so much. It's all part of you, which is why I'm not going to waste my time and energy and effort with that, with someone who is already negating it. I don't have that kind of time to waste. I
Right.
really honestly don't. So I tend to not bother. I'll tell them to come back when you're ready because
Yeah.
I just can't, because that's a big part. It's a big part. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it or anything like that. I would prefer to walk away. I don't need your money that badly. I mean, I need money. Who doesn't?
Right.
We have things that we have to do and pay bills to pay. But I really, the expending of the energies and all of that, it's a waste.
Right.
If someone's not willing to go, you not just pay for it, but go ahead and believe in what it is that they're about to do. You come to that person. Why would you seek them out and come to them if you don't want to have this work for you? It makes no sense, you know?
Right. And even if you're doing the work yourself, the same rule applies. You truly must believe in what it is that you're doing, or it's not going to happen. So another tip that I have is incorporating, using, again, going back to our patron elements, but also incorporating the directions from which they hail. Now, I understand that there are different traditions, and yours might be different. And by all means, again, if your direction and what element it represents are different than mine, go with your system. It has to resonate with you. Don't worry about what I think. It's got to resonate with you. But for those of you who are following pretty much the Western traditions, we have east is air, fire is south, water is west, and earth is in the north. So what you can do, and I'm not going to turn around because I'm sitting in front of you and I don't have a swivel chair, so can't do it anyway. So you can either do sitting straight ahead, or if you don't know what direction you're sitting in, if you have an iPhone, there's a compass app right on it that you already have. I think it's under extras. If you go to that, you'll see a compass, or you can pick up a compass, someplace cheap, so that you know what directions it is that you're dealing with. And then what you can do is so at the moment, I am facing east. So you can hold up your hands, and I don't know if you can see my hands completely, but say, I accept divine balanced energy from air in the east, bring it down, and say thank you. Fire in the south, bring it down and say thank you. Water in the west, bring it down and say thank you. You're bringing it down into yourself. I'm stopping here because my desk is here, but I would go all the way down if this desk was not here. And earth in the north, thank you, and bring it down. Now, depending on how much energy you can hold, because not everybody can hold a lot of energy, you can also bring it down from the spirit, and you can also bring it up from the earth. But that might be a little too much for you if you're not used to it. You don't want to be pinging around all over the place with all this energy and you don't know what to do with it. So, but you can just start off either just, if you are an air sign, just go ahead. My dear sacred patron element of earth, I accept divine energy from you. Bring it down and say thank you. Or you can bring in all of the elements and you can bring above and below energy as well, depending on what your capacity is to hold and send out energy. So you can use one or you can use all of them, but powering up before a spell is also very important because, again, if you're exhausted, you come home from work, you've been working all day and you have to ride the train home or sit in traffic and now you're tired and you don't really have the energy to really put out into that candle or put into your mist or whatever it is, whatever the components that your spell or intention work requires, then if you're only running on a half a cylinder, then you are not putting enough energy into, and it could actually almost be dangerous for you to use whatever little energy you have left to try and put into the spell, and then you're knocked out for a week because you just totally exhausted yourself. So
Yeah.
powering up, and especially using your patron element to do so, can really help you to strengthen your spell work so that it works better for you.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Goddess Rhonda explained how to do it the way that she does it, which I think is fantastic because I have had to do that sometimes. I've even done it where I've literally started off and I go to the north, to the west, to the south, to the east. I welcome you all into me, sacred elements. And then I ask the divine Great Spirit to come into me as well. And you bring it all into you, and this is how, for me, that was the quick way of doing it because I'm all encompassing the whole thing because of the fact that being that I have to sit most of the times in ritual because I'm disabled, I tend to have to do it very quickly in that sense and bring it down all into my energies. So I'm bringing it down to myself and I'm saying I'm accepting that. And I'm receiving this and I'm accepting it. I'm not just bringing it at me, but I'm willing to accept it within myself and say, so mote it be. One of the other things I tend to do sometimes too as well is to work with your patron god or goddess or both, depending on who they are and the purposes that you want to work with. Some of you reach out to them even before the elements. So it just depends on who you are, what you are, and your practice. Because a lot of times we get people who come to us who are not in any way a witch or in spiritual in the sense the way we are as pagans.
Right.
We get a lot of non-pagan clients. And when we ask them to do certain things, they seem very knowledgeable about certain things in the sense that they may not be prone or exactly the exact way that we do ritual, but you explain it to them and you tell them to call on who they want to call on. So some of them call on Jesus or whoever they believe in, whatever symbols they believe in, and I tell them use that, work with that, because that's what makes you comfortable and that's what you can reach out to. The energies are all there. Jesus is another patron. At least
Absolutely.
that's the way I see it. So I explain that to them and I say, you reach out to all or whatever your beliefs are and make it work for you. The idea is not to go against something that you're not accustomed to or not to go against something that you do not believe in. You don't have to believe in my spirituality to get it to work for you. Believe in yours because that belief alone will make that outcome even better. Use what you believe. Use what you believe in and make it work. Use your own patron. Whatever it is right that's right for you. Just take what that energies that I have with it, or that particular tool that I am using, that candle spell, and use that part. But everything else comes from your beliefs and what you want to put into it. That's why a spell, no matter who does it for you, that spell becomes you. It becomes for you because it was done for you, which is why we say use whatever patron or element that works for you. And because, again, we do not have a lot, we have a lot of clients that are pagans, but we do have an extensive amount of clients that are not.
Right.
So with that in mind, we do say to them to call on whatever works for you. If it's Jesus or the angels, some people believe only in the angels, it's up to you. It all works. So do what's best for you, and because the more you believe, fervently believe in that particular patron or that particular deity or whatever it is the more potent and more powerful that spell will become, and the more that spell will work best for you. Again, that's being now customized particularly for you because you're using who you believe in.
Mm-hmm.
You're using what's right for you. You're using what works for you with the tool that we've given you. So that's all that you're doing. So you can take that and make it work for you. It works. I can guarantee you that it works because your belief in it makes it work. And isn't that correct, Goddess Rhonda?
Yes, it is. And I am just, I have to apologize. I should have said this in the beginning that we have a forum. If you have questions, we have a forum that you can ask. I know I did too, and I'm so sorry. That you can ask questions, and I'm right now pinning it to the top of the Facebook of our Priestess View Facebook page so that you can just click on that and you can ask whatever questions that you want because we're monitoring the forum as we talk to you. So you can go ahead, or if after the show, because I know a lot of people look at this on their phone and maybe they can't navigate right now, even after the show, you can still go to the forum, you can ask questions, you can, say whatever, you want to make comments or you want to ask us a question about something that we said tonight, please, by all means, go to our forum. And it's, I don't know, it's the priestessview.freeforums.net/board/1. I know that's a lot, /general board, but if you just go to the Priestess View Facebook page, then you will see the forum. I just put it right at the top, and you can go there and you can ask any questions that you may have. And again, I apologize that I did not say that in the beginning of the show. So, but it's never too late. Again, if you want to, even after the show, or if you look at this later and you think of a question tomorrow that you didn't think of right now, by all means, you can always post the question, and Goddess Starr and I will go ahead and get back to you. So, okay. So
also, one of the things that's okay, sweetie. One of the things that we have spoken about between us, Goddess Rhonda and I, is if you put up anything in the forum that you think you would love to have us speak about future-wise, we would certainly take it under consideration, depending on the topic and everything, so that way we can cover things for you guys. The whole idea of this show is not just for us, but for what we can do to help you with different questions or thoughts or ideas. So if you post those questions, thoughts, or ideas, we will certainly take it under advisement and see what we can do and go forward with it from there. So one day you might hear a particular topic that you posted, and you might hear us saying, oh, there you are, so-and-so posted, or we may not say your name. That way you let us know if we will or will not say your name, so that we will not make anyone upset with anybody else. But we will let you know that we're hitting that topic, at some point coming up and things like that. So that way we can help you as best we can, because that way, again, just like we are trying to customize the spells, we can customize the show towards you guys.
Right, because it's all about you and trying to help to empower you and advise you as best that we can so that you really can live the empowered life that is your birthright, because you have a right to things. It's just navigating yourself to that space. Okay, so my next tip is, and again, I told you I'm into planets and energies and things like that, is along with using your patron element, also assigned to you at your birth is a patron planet. And the patron planets also represent the various gods and goddesses that you can call upon. So that lets you know that you have a patron god or goddess that you should be asking to help you achieve these things. I'm guessing most people know what their ruling planet is, but in case that they don't, I'm going to go over your ruling planets and also herbs that go along with it so that you can, to honor your ruling planet and the god and goddesses that they represent, you can also use herbs and spices and oils that represent them. So we've got for Aries, which is now the time of Aries. We are in the realm of Aries, which I love, the realm of Mars. And we've got allspice, chili pepper, and dragon's blood. And these are just a few things. I like to use, I don't know if I have it. Oh, I do have it here. This is my favorite book, Scott Cunningham's Encyclopedia of Magical Herbs. And the
Oh,
reason I love this
excellent book.
so much is because it gives you the folklore, it gives you the gods and goddesses, it gives you the elements, it tells you everything. So it's really good a book to have. But I only chose a few things that you could get easily, so that, because we also don't want you to have to go out and spend $1 million either. So a lot of these things you probably already have. So getting back, we've got for Aries, we've got Mars, and I've got allspice, chili, pepper, and dragon's blood. For Taurus, it's Venus, and I've got apples, roses, cherries, and corn. For Gemini, it's Mercury, and I have dill, almond, beans, lavender, celery, or celery seeds. For Gemini, I just did Gemini, I'm sorry. For Cancer, which is the moon, you can use cotton balls, and cotton represents fulfillment of wishes. So I use cotton all the time for things because it's very good, powerful substance to use. Jasmine, lemon or lemon peel, or potatoes. You can get those dehydrated potatoes. I don't know what they call them, but you add water and it actually turns back into potatoes. You can get the dehydrated potatoes and ground them up, and then you've got a potato powder that you can use to make incenses and things like that to honor the moon. I don't suggest you take a bath in it because I don't know if it's going to hydrate and then you're sitting in a tub of mashed potatoes, but you can certainly use it for other things. I know stars like Rhonda really, and I'm like, well, you never know, so you got to think of these things. We've got for Leo, we've got the sun, and we've got orange peel, cinnamon, pineapples, and oak. For Virgo, it's Mercury, and again, for Mercury, it's dill, almond, beans, lavender, celery, or celery seeds. For Libra, it's Venus, also like Taurus, so we've got apples, roses, cherries, and corn. For Scorpio, it's Pluto and Mars. You have two rulers for that one. And we've got allspice, chili pepper, and dragon's blood. For Sagittarius, which is Jupiter, we have cloves, which is my favorite thing. I love the smell of cloves, but Jupiter is one of my ruling planets because I'm Pisces, so that's probably why I like it. For Capricorn, we've got Saturn, and there's beets, comfrey root, Solomon seal, and ivy. For Aquarius, it's the current ruler is Uranus, but the original ruler was Saturn. And I always have an issue when modern astrologers decide to change the planets around. I mean, it was good enough for those people who taught us astrology thousands and thousands of years ago. I see no reason to change things, but that's just me. But to go along with the contemporary, for Aquarius, we have Uranus and Saturn, and you can use coffee, nutmeg, cloves, or cinnamon. And for Pisces, there's also two rulers, Neptune and Jupiter. You can use anise, figs, sage, or nutmeg for Jupiter. And for Neptune, you can use orange blossoms, poppy, lobelia, wisteria, hemp, wild lettuce, willow, and lotus. You can also use, probably maybe it's illegal but in some places, but maybe some of you have medical Mary Jane, medical marijuana. That's also a Neptune herb that you can burn, but I don't want you to go to jail, so I'm just saying that, but I'm not telling you to do it. So I don't want
Okay.
anyone going before the judge and saying, well, Goddess Rhonda said it was okay. No, she didn't. I'm just making full disclaimers. So you can connect with your planetary ruler through meditation. What I found it's easiest to do, because again, I'm not incredibly visual, I just go on Google and pull up a picture of the planet and gaze at it and connect with that energy. So you can do it that way to help you with your visualization. And you always do it with the intention of safely, always safely connecting with that planet so that you can ask for your favor. You can offer that planet or the god or the goddess herbs or fruits that it represents. And it would also do you well anyway to get to know who your planetary rulers are. These are planets that are represented by gods and goddesses. So you are already assigned a god and goddess to help you. By all means, call upon them and say, could you help me out? I really need your help. Make offerings to them. Strengthen your bond with them. And then now you've got like a whole team of elements and planets and gods and goddesses that are all here to assist you. So you're not alone in trying to make this work. You've got a lot of help as long as you just ask for it, particularly from your patrons. You can really get a lot more done. What do you think about that, Goddess Starr?
I agree wholeheartedly, and it made me remember that one of the things that you were born with, this is your guardian angel.
Yes,
Um, Reach out to your guardian angel. They are there when you're born, and they are there when you die. So reach out to them. You're not alone. That's one of the crucial things that Goddess Rhonda just mentioned. You're not alone. You have a whole slew of patrons, gods and goddesses, planets, different rulers of different times, your guardian angel, all of those things to reach out for, but they're not there to just reach out to you unless you reach out to them.
right,
So reach out to them, ask for their help, and they're quite willing to if you acknowledge them. Because
right,
one of the things that I believe, that's maybe just my belief, is that if you do not acknowledge them, then it's not that they're not going to help you. It's just that you're not going to notice that they're helping you. You're not going to notice
right,
that they're there, actually trying to reach out to you. So reach out to your guardian angel. Try to get to know their names. Work with them. Not just your guardian angel, but your patron god or goddess, or your patron elements, patron planets, all of those things, they're there. So
right.
reach out to them and learn how to connect with them, like Goddess Rhonda said. So that makes a big difference, and then you would not feel so all alone, or
Yeah,
like there's no one there to reach out to for you, because a lot of times, um, Goddess Rhonda mentioned earlier that sometimes you do feel like you're so downtrodden or so beaten down that, there's no one there for you. There's nothing, to reach out to. But
right.
that's not true. Just call out and ask. Call out and say, "Can I get to know you? I need your help." Different things. Just reach out. There's always that chance or that yearning. I believe that they're always yearning to get to know you, but they have to get your permission. You have to reach out first.
Hmm.
A lot of it is based on permission, and they're not necessarily allowed, or not necessarily, I shouldn't say the word allowed. They don't, they give you that freedom of choice of reaching out to them first.
Right.
Them. So I would suggest that you reach out and ask, can I get to know your name? Can I get to know you? As the time goes by, you will get to know them,
Hmm.
you know, um, and work with them. They're there for your benefit. You have so many allies and guides that you just have to learn how to reach out for them. And they're there. That little voice that you keep hearing sometimes, that's them, some of them. They're there. And they're usually giving you that advice that sometimes a lot of people have said, I thought about that, or something told me, something. Listen to those words. Something told me, but I did not listen.
Right.
You know, um, you have to learn to listen, and you have to learn to acknowledge and reach out. So that's very, very wise that Goddess
It
Rhonda
is.
mentioned.
And it's also, it helps you just to show before you even ask them for anything, show some respect. make an offering, put them out a
Yeah.
glass of wine, burn some incense, and just say, hey, I just, introducing myself, wanting to get to know you. Please accept this offering, with my
Yes.
divine, honorable intentions towards getting to know you. You don't
Yes.
want to just always be asking and have your hands out. You don't give
Yes.
respect, or you don't give an offering, you give nothing back either. That doesn't make them, more inspired to help you than someone who comes to them
Yes.
humbly and shows respect and acknowledgement and honor. These are
Right.
when your patrons are going to say, hey, wow, look what they just did. They showed me some respect. Okay, let's see what we can do to help them out. Get to know them. Sit in meditation
Yeah.
with your energy, or even if you, not everyone can feel energy or presences. Just send the thought out there. Hey, I just wanted you to know I appreciate you getting me this far, and I know you're going to get me through to whatever it is I'm trying to do, and I just wanted to say thanks. They'll hear you, and it's showing respect, and that's really, really important, to show respect to your gods and your goddesses, your deities, your ancestors, to show that love and gratitude. You don't want to just come off as someone who's only shows up when you need something and a fair weather friend. Well, yeah, everything's good, so I don't need you right now. But when things are bad, oh, yeah, could you help me out now? I'm your friend again. You don't want to be like that. You don't want people doing that to you, or always coming and
I was
bugging you
just
for
thinking
things
those
and
exact same thoughts.
and so because you don't want that done to do, certainly you don't want to disrespect your gods and goddesses that way, or your elements, or the planetary rulers that have been assigned to help you out. You want to show them love and respect and appreciation, instead of, you don't want to just come off as, I'm just greedy and this is what I want and it's all about me. Go ahead and really engage and get to know them, and you're going to find that life is a
Yeah.
lot easier, and you feel better because you know you are not alone. You've got this whole team just sitting there, standing by, waiting to help you. And then you can just do it, and then it's not just you. You've got that help. You've got your brothers, your divine brothers and sisters to help you. And that, knowing you have that support, goes a long way to making you feel better about it. And then if you feel better about it, you feel more confident in what you're doing. And if you feel more confident in what you're doing, that shows through your spell work, because now you've got the confidence, you believe it's going to happen, you've got all the prerequisites that you need to really and truly make the spell work. And I know some of you are saying right now, well, this is a lot of work, Rhonda and Starr. I got to energize myself, and I've got to cleanse myself, and I got to burn this unhexing candle first. And, well, you know what? Again, I will quote Jack Campbell. What's it worth to you? Is it worth it for you to take an extra few minutes to meditate and honor your gods and goddesses and your ancestors? Is it worth it to you to take the extra 5 minutes to cleanse yourself, power up, purify your intentions, and put that spell work out there? It doesn't help you to be a lazy witch. It really does not. Lazy witches do not do well. There is work involved in this. Now, it's not such work that you're going to be like, oh my God, it's going to take me like 5 hours, and it's not going to take that long. It could take you, it doesn't take long to honor your deity, cleanse yourself, power up, do what you have to do. But if you don't do it, it might take you, let's say it takes you 30 minutes to do the prerequisites to then do your spell. It might take you 30 minutes. Like, well, Rhonda, I don't have a whole 30 minutes. Well, if you don't do that, then it could take you 6 months for your spell to work. Do you have a whole 6 months to wait? Or would you rather take that extra 30 minutes to put that extra oomph into it, maybe cut that wait time down to half or a
Yeah.
third or to a quarter, because you have layered on all of this stuff. So I know some of you are like, well, I don't know, this is going to take there's a lot of work. The spell said all I had to do was this, that all I had to do was light this candle and so forth. And if you want to roll that way, by all means, go ahead, do it your way, give it a try. We are just here to help you make it work better and faster and more powerful for you. Does that take work? Yes, it does. As soon as I learn Samantha Stevens' trick of wiggling my nose and making it work, I promise you I will be right back here to teach you how to do it. But until then, all I can do is talk to you about your elements and your directions, the colors that you use. That's another thing I almost forgot, is to make a custom color chart for yourself. Take a minute, write down all the colors: blue, green, yellow, orange, red, turquoise, pink. indigo, purple, violet, all the colors that you can think of. And then write down what those colors mean to you. What color means prosperity? What color means happiness? What color means peace? What color means education? Write that down so that you have a custom color list that you can now incorporate using when you're doing your candle work, or if you're writing on different colored pieces of paper. Because again, the spell that you're reading might say, okay, for money, you need to use a green candle. But in your mind or your subconscious, because you're also dealing with memories from previous lives where you've done this work and you might have used a different kind, something inside you might say, well, a green candle doesn't feel right to me. I think I should use purple, or I should use pink, or I should use blue, or I should use a rainbow candle. Use the candle that means that to you. It doesn't matter if I think green means money. It matters to what your subconscious and your energy is going to resonate with. So it's probably best, before you do anything, is to make yourself a custom color chart. Write down all of the colors that you can think of. You can always add to it. And then write down next to it, what does that mean to you? What does that color mean? So that this way you're getting the candle color that resonates with your energy and your intentions and what your belief system, because your belief system has to work. If the spell says, okay, use the green candle, and you're using the green candle, but part of you inside is like, I really think it should be a purple candle, but I'll go ahead and use this green candle. Well, then you're starting a spell with conflicted energies. There is conflict within you, and that means you're sending out conflicting energies because part of you doesn't believe that the green candle is going to work, and that right there is going to destroy your spell. So make your custom color chart first so that you can choose the candles that resonate with you, and then if you're reading a spell book and it says use this purple candle to get a new job, and your mind says, no, I feel I have orange down for that, so go ahead and use the orange candle. It's going to work better for you because it goes along with your belief. But you need to have your color chart so that you know what it is that does resonate with you, so that you can just go to and say, okay, money to me, that means a yellow candle. Yellow, got it. You go and get it. Instead of sitting there trying to figure it out while you're doing the spell work. And that's another thing, is preparing in advance. There's nothing worse, especially if you're doing planetary work and you're using planetary hours where you've got to do this spell exactly on the first Friday of the waxing moon at 10 o'clock at night. And then here it is, it's 9:59, and you haven't got all your spell stuff together, and you're ready to go, and you realize, oh, I forgot the wand, or I forgot the incense. I forgot it. Now you're in a fluster because you're trying to get everything done, or you didn't buy it, now you don't have it. Prepare in advance for your spell work, especially if it is time intensive, where it's got to be done at a certain time. It's always best to try and get your stuff ahead of time so that when that hour has come and it's Friday of the waxing moon at 10 o'clock at night, you're ready. You've got everything. Make your checklist. Make sure you have everything. Because if you don't have everything and now you're in a panic and you forgot to buy the candle and you didn't do this and you're going to substitute this, by the time you get started, you're all flustered and you're stressed out, and now you're putting that into your spell work. So if you're doing something that has time restrictions on it, be sure to prepare in advance. And I am talking from personal experience, knowledge, and frustration. Oh my God, I thought I had everything, but I needed some patchouli, and now I don't have it. Now what am I going to do? Well, I've got to find this. I can use this to substitute this, and I'm in a panic trying to get it all together because I only have a certain amount of time to be within the hour of Venus or whatever it is I'm supposed to be working in. If you're going to do something like that, make sure that you have all of your stuff, all of your ducks in a row before the time has come for you to go ahead and do that spell. Have you ever had that happen to you, Goddess Starr?
Oh yes, absolutely. But I tend to I tend to become really creative when it comes to my spells, in the sense of, well, I am going to make it work at this particular time, and I start doing that. But that's because I feel like I'm a bit more experienced,
Right.
than some of you out there, so I kind of make things kind of or become creative with it. So for the general people, I would suggest, you try to definitely take that advice and have everything ready ahead of time. One of the things I would add to Goddess Rhonda's color chart is people have a tendency to choose colors. If you say to them to um, prepare a color chart and then write down next to it what that color means to you, I want you to kind of really think about each one. Right? Maybe at the moment you write down what you actually think about it at that time, but come back to it again, and really say if this is really what it means to you and everything. Because a lot of times I've seen people say a certain color at that particular time means a certain thing to them. And then later on when they go, when I started paying attention and I went to a particular doctor's office and they had a certain color and it made me feel a certain way. And I never thought about it until now I'm looking at the color chart. So now I think I'm changing my mind. It means this to me now because I realized it put me in a particular mood. You know what I mean? Because colors, they do an interesting thing to people. It's kind of like mood. That mood ring that they used to have. I think they still have it around that in the 70s or the 80s.
Yeah, they still have those.
They put on the mood ring, and depending on how you feel, it would change a particular color. So colors are like that with human beings. So I would the color chart is a great idea, but I would also make sure that you are absolutely sure that that color means that particular thing to you, because sometimes it's just a matter of how you're feeling at that particular time. Mm-hmm. So take your time with it. Don't rush it or anything, but take your time with it and really choose the colors that you actually think goes with whatever it is. Because if it's kind of like me saying, Goddess Rhonda said it right. If I said to a person from Asia with the red color that, green is the best one for money, and in their country, red is best for them. And that's the way they equate it. Now, for other things, they may say in the Western world where the blue may feel a different way to them. It brings them to different ambiance than what we think it is. So it all depends on, I guess, in a way, how you were raised, your color span, or how you feel, how you as a human being feel when you walk into a particular place when the color is different. It's the reason why doctors' offices have certain colors, hospitals have certain colors. They're all meant to gear you a certain way. So it's the reason why in choosing the color chart, which I think is such a brilliant idea, make sure that go back to it. And if it changes, it means that you're still hesitant about that particular color.
Right.
So keep that in mind. What was the other thing? I forgot. You mentioned so many different things that I was just saying all over the place. The offerings, because you went down such a scale of different things, and you were absolutely right. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. I remembered you mentioned the offerings to the different patrons and gods and goddesses and deities and everything. It's just like she said, like Goddess Rhonda said, it's not just having someone come and use you. The words are not used. You're working with that particular patron or guardian or guardian angel or whatever it is. So that means respect. It goes both ways. The same way you want to be treated is the same way you would treat that particular god or goddess, but bearing in mind that they are that guest that's here to help you. They're in a position of where they can really help you. So there's a certain utmost respect and reverence there. There's also I have walked into many places of different traditions, whether it's an Asian restaurant or whatever it is. You see offerings at their front door or their front of their restaurant, different things. You may not realize it, or you walk into a Thai restaurant or whatever it is. They've got something there, with either a god or a goddess that they are Buddha or something that they are honoring with a candle or with a fruit or with water or whatever it is. If you walk into a pagan shop, you would find something too, somewhere on the side at the front. So there's always, it doesn't take much. And it's not that they're asking for anything in particular, they're honoring. Honor them as often as you can, in whatever way you can. And justice, and there's no reasoning or it's because I want something. No. It's a simple act of respect.
Right.
So one of the things I would suggest is to always be reverent in the mind that you don't always, human beings have a tendency to sometimes offer things into that way they can expect something back. Right. They do that with people that they meet, And it shouldn't be that way. You should not be doing it with the sense of, well, that way I can get something back. You do it with the sense of, I'm just offering it. There's no ties to it. Simple as that. There were so many little things, and I'm trying to remember every little thing. I didn't have a pen with me to write it down as you were saying it, but that's two of the things that I did remember off the bat, and so I wanted to kind of add into that of what you said, because again, it was brilliantly said, and the very wise in the way that it was done, in the sense to give you all that knowledge imparted. So in terms of colors, herbs, all the many things that Goddess Rhonda has mentioned for the different things. If you do not know a particular herb or oil or whatever it is for a particular spell you're trying to do, maybe at home for yourself, just ask us. We'd gladly tell you, because or you could just research it. There's what's his name? Christopher Penczak. That's one of the things I wanted to say. As you mentioned, all the different we have such an enormous amount of allies and guides with us, or patrons or different things. Christopher Penczak wrote a book, called one of his books, and it's called Spirit Allies. I believe it was called I believe it's called the Spirit Allies, or Your Spirit Allies, that for you, something like that. But look it up on Amazon under Christopher Penczak's name, and you will see. And it's a book just geared towards all your different patrons and allies that you have, that's there to show that you're not alone. All of this is a matter of getting to know them. So it's something that you should try to see if you could learn, because as much as it seems like a lot of work, a lot of things with spells and things that you work with for yourself and for other people is based on your knowledge. And your knowledge only comes from either you're learning it from someone, or you're learning it from yourself as you go by and you see certain results. Knowledge comes from a lot of different ways. So the best bet to do with a particular spell, if you see that spell works because you expended that much energy, or you expended that much time towards it, and focus and the fervency and the honesty with it, then okay, that spell worked because I did that extra. Right. I gave it that extra oomph. I was fervent with it. I was so focused, and I knew my outcome, and I was honest with what I wanted. So then future-wise, my spells are going to have to take that as well. This is because I want the results. I want to see that same result all the time. And yes, it takes time, it takes effort, and it takes work. But life takes work, doesn't it? The things you want in life, if you ever notice, you have to work for it. And sometimes you have to expend a lot more energies than some. But all of it takes some effort and work from you. So you have to always think of things that it's not going to be that we're not Samantha Stevens, we're not wriggling the nose, we'd love to. We're not Uncharmed where we write that spell and right away it happens. Again, that's all tricks of the trades, with the movies and the shows. In the real life, this is the reality of the way it is, and it takes time and effort and your focus and your intent and your energies. Right. And no matter how you slice it, it takes work. That's all of that work. That's right. And yes, whether you need us to help you with that work or not, it still takes work on your part. We will still say to you, we need your energies to put this in even more, because we are doing it for you. We have taken the tool. We are the tool for you. We take the candle and we do all of that spell work, but the last end result, the energies, is you. You have to expend it, because you're the one. You're not just paying money. You're expending yourself, your energies. And you have to deal with that. You have to realize that that's all part of you. That's why when we say at certain times that we tell you not to do something, and we step back, because we kind of know with certain spells that you may, not may, but you want to do what you want to do, and we tell you not to do it, and then we say to you, if you do, I'm stepping back from your spell, because I'm not going to be part of that energy. I'm not going to be part of that backfire. I'm not going to be part of that. And we step back. There's a reason, because we know that you're going to step over the bar, or step over the line with certain things, and we will reiterate don't do it. Don't step over that line. Don't go beyond what you know you're willing to take back or take on.
Right.
So that's just being honest with everyone about what we see and know and what we've had people come at us with over time.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And then also you can, once you're getting to know who your patrons are, who your team is, everyone who's here to help you, you're not just restricted to those people or those elements. You can mix and match what you want. After you honor your own elements and planets, you can petition the ones also that represent what you want. So for example, air, which is represented by East and is a masculine energy. And again, if in your tradition, the directions represent the elements in a different format or in a different order, by all means go with your tradition. Air in the East, we've got intelligence, wisdom, business, trade, commerce, travel, and communication. That's a good one to go for if you're trying to go back to school or you're having a problem passing tests or things like that. We've got fire in the South, which is masculine. That is for protection, defense of self and others, courage, exorcism, energy, and strength. So when you're exhausted and you've got to get a pickup, you can use fire to power things up. We've got water, which is west and feminine, and that's healing, peace, psychic abilities, cleansing on all levels, emotion, spirituality, and nurture. So that if you're emotionally unbalanced, when I say emotionally unbalanced, I don't mean that you have mental challenges. What I mean is if you are casting a love spell because you're still brokenhearted and you're very emotional in a negative emotional space, or you're desperate and panicky, and that's why you're doing the prosperity spell, because you're desperate and panicky, you don't want to bring those in. So water can help to balance out those emotions. You can use water to get you back into being balanced before you even begin your spell work. The earth is north, and that is fertility. It's feminine. Fertility, grounding, growth, nurture, prosperity, and support, stability. So after you've honored your own patrons, you can then go forward to request help from the patrons who represent those things that you're trying to achieve, those things that you want, to help you even further with that.
Absolutely. It's kind of like with doing the love spell, you would reach out to the goddess of love or a particular goddess that's working on a particular section of the heart.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for instance, you mentioned, Goddess Rhonda mentioned working with water to balance that emotional energy if you're working on a love spell and there's a lot of negative emotions and different things. One of the things that you can do is an uncrossing love spell, because it's a self-healing or learning to love healing or uncrossing love, whatever you want to think of it like that. But it's all about learning how to, or doing this particular spell so that you can get over those damaging feelings. That person has already moved on. So if you don't find a way to move on and work on yourself, it's not going to help.
Right.
Finding a new love, how could you find a new love if you're in such a negative space? If you have not finished dealing with what you've had in that past that's moved on. So you have to learn how to heal yourself, get over that love, all the negative things with it, get rid of that baggage, and move on. And until you can do that, I would suggest not doing a love spell as yet, unless you're doing one to love yourself. Because again, when you think of spells, think of everything is kind of very logical. At least that's the way I see spells. They're very logical. So you have to start thinking in the sense of, if you were going to try to heal a wound, you're not going to just start healing the wound without first taking out all the fungus or whatever it is that's wrong with it. Whatever it is that's making it not heal, you have to remove that first. That's it, whatever the infections are. Yeah. So once that's done, then the wound will naturally start healing.
Yes.
And whatever else you want to add to it. So you have to think of things in a very logical manner when it comes to spells. There's nothing illogical about it. It's not paranormal, it's very normal. All of that is very normal in the sense of how it's very logistic, very logical, and very, to me, witchcraft is basically saying all along that now science is catching up to our craft. So if you want to be, science is very logical. To me, witchcraft is very logical. So think of spells in a logical manner, an honest manner, and deal with it as such. So don't just try to paste it over and say, okay, I'm ready for love. In the meantime, you're still crying over that lost love. Or you're still getting over that negative whatever abuse or different things that had happened. You have to heal whatever it is first. You always have to take everything one step at a time. Like Goddess Rhonda mentioned earlier with that spell that you want that in another nicer neighborhood, but in the meantime, you need that better job or that better education.
Right.
Everything takes. So you have to follow the steps that will logically get you the end result that you truly want. So it again, spells come right back to, being honest with yourself about what your needs are, being logical about how the steps that you have to take. So if it means a few different spells because you have to take it one step at a time, then that's what you have to do.
Right.
And honor yourself with it as you go through it, because a lot of it when it comes to spell is honoring yourself and respecting yourself.
That's right.
Am I doing this for the right reasons? Am I doing this for the betterment of everyone involved? Because people don't think like that all the time. You're not thinking of a spell in a logic sense of, is it for the betterment of everyone or is it just for me?
Right.
And if it's just for you, who am I going to hurt in the end result with it? So you have to think of everything in the sense of, again, just being very logical and honest.
100% true. Absolutely. And as always, the time has flown so quickly. So just to,
Wow.
before we
Yes.
go, I've got
Yes.
one more thing for you guys. And that is to go over, again, we've already gone over astrologically, the planets that you represent, all those things. But if you want to mix and match and call upon the planets and the gods and goddesses of others, just here's a quickie to let you know who to call upon. So for the sun, we've got legal matters, healing, protection, success, illumination, magical energy, and physical energy. For the moon, we have sleep, gardening, love, healing, the home, fertility, the sea, peace, and compassion. Mercury defines our mind, the way we use it, intelligence, language, speech, writing, all forms of communication, business, trade, and commerce. Venus represents love, sensuality, romance, beauty, affection, culture, wealth, luxury, and social appeal. Mars is aggressiveness, courage, willpower, action, protection, life force, energy to achieve your goals, war. Jupiter is good luck, good fortune, fun, spirituality, the good life, and expansion. Jupiter will expand everything, but you have to be very careful. Here's the caveat. With Jupiter, because Jupiter expands everything, it is really, really important that you are very, very positive about your work and firm in your beliefs and the confidence in it. Because if you are insecure about it, Jupiter's just going to go ahead and expand that too. It just expands. So you have to be very specific and be very positive when you're working with Jupiter, because it is an expansive energy. You don't want him to expand those things you're trying to get rid of. That would not help. We've got Saturn, which is for stability, business, luck, restriction. Saturn gets a very bad rep. It's like, oh my God, it's Saturn, I'm going to be restricted. Well, that works both ways. You can ask Saturn to restrict those things in your life that are holding you back, or those people in your life that are holding you back. And he also will help you with your business. He helps you take a business from ground zero into a Fortune 500 company. There's a lot that Saturn can do. So don't listen to the hype that, oh, Saturn, oh my God. Saturn is a good dude to have on your side. Honor him. We've got Uranus. which is revolution, change, instability, electricity or power, and destruction. Sometimes we need to destroy those things that are holding us back.
Absolutely.
Although just know that Uranus is also a very unstable energy, so be careful with that. Neptune, we've got humanitarianism, all metaphysical abilities, healing, psychic abilities, everything that's metaphysical belongs to Neptune. Peace and also dreams, if you're having a hard time dreaming or you want to understand, you have more prophetic dreams, you can appeal to Neptune, and then we've got Pluto, last but not least. Pluto, who also gets a bad rap, because like, oh, Pluto, the god of the underworld. Well, guess what? The underworld is where all of our riches come from. Our riches come from the earth. Our food comes from the earth. All of it comes from up into the underworld. So be very nice to Pluto because he's also an excellent brother to have. And he represents transformation, power, death, rebirth, and the depths of our subconscious and those things which are hidden. So that will give you some ideas of who you can call upon, how you can power up your spells so that they are custom to you, using your own elements, your own patron planets, your own patron gods and goddesses, and cleaning up your energy, powering up the way you need to, figuring out exactly what is it that you truly need. Did you need that new apartment in a better neighborhood, or did you first need to go to school to get the better job, to get the better apartment? Do you want to find your life partner or I shudder to say soulmate, but some of you still say it, your life partner or your twin flame or whatever? Or do you really need a spell to help you heal from the damages that was done to you from previous relationships so that you can get your trust back and confidence in yourself back? If you don't trust, if you can't trust, you can't have a relationship, because love relationships are built on trust. So if you're already, well, I can't trust anybody because they're always going to screw me over, well, then you can expect not to have a true love relationship, or you can expect to bring in someone who's going to screw you over because that's what you just said, and you put those words and that's the intention out there. So you have to be careful with that. So again, do your ladder, figure out what it is you really need to do, the steps that you need to get to that goal, and be in that goal. Have patience and believe that it's going to work and that it's going to happen. And I'm pretty sure I can guarantee you that you'll have much better success with your spell work if you take all of these things into consideration and truly commit to do the work.
You said it. You actually said the last words, most important. Do the work.
Yeah.
It takes work. All right? And thank you guys so much for being with us tonight. We really appreciate it. And we appreciate all of you.
Absolutely. We are just so thrilled to have you with us again. Please go to our Priestess View Facebook page and go ahead and you can click on that forum. Please like the page, of course, and share it with every friend that you possibly have, relatives, everybody, even strangers, share our page. But also we have on there the forum that you can join. We just started it, so it's pretty empty, but we're also asking you for contributions to tell us what kind of shows you would like, what kind of spells you'd want to know about. If you just want to go in there and talk about issues facing you as a pagan or as a witch or however it is you term yourself, it's a place for all of us to go to get our questions answered. And so again, we're just building it, but by all means sign up. Now you should know that next week we won't be here, but you can look at our previous shows, or you can also listen to our previous Blog Talk radio shows, which is under Goddess Radio. Before we went visual, we have a lot of Blog Talk Radio archived shows that you can listen to, and I am going to figure out how to put this also, the audio, on Blog Talk Radio. I'll try and get that done by this weekend, figure that out. So next week you can look at our archive, but we will be back the following week to talk about our favorite. It's going to be a very easy, light and breezy show. Bring a glass of wine, come and chill out, and we're going to sit and we're going to talk about our favorite metaphysical movies, our favorite metaphysical books, our favorite metaphysical TV shows, and why we like them and how we feel what we've learned from them. Because, there's always truth in fiction, and while certainly I can't wiggle my nose and make something work or be like I Dream of Jeannie and fold my arms and blink my eyes and poof, I'm in Hawaii. I wish. But one day, hopefully, if I keep working hard, but we can give you, the tips and tricks that we have to help you out. And you can also learn a lot from these shows in other ways. There's things that these shows do.
Absolutely.
So we'll be back to talk about that. But in the meantime, we bless you with prosperity and love and all of the energy and strength that you need to achieve your goals. And we are so grateful to have you. And blessed be, Mary Part. And I look forward to seeing you again. Namaste.
Yeah. Merry part, everyone, and thank you so much, really, for joining us. We really, really appreciate it. And blessed be to you all. Thank you.
Thank you. And just quickly, we close out our circle. Hail and farewell, our lords and ladies of the elements and directions. We thank you so much for your kind service and release your energy back to its source with our gratitude. Thank you and blessed be. Okay,
Yes.
thank you so much, everyone. We will see you in 2 weeks. Stay blessed, and we'll see you later. And thank you.
Bye. Bye-bye. Have a good night.
Good night.